The astrology for this week reminds us that as long as you go to archery class and you practice, you will eventually be able to shoot an arrow with a bow. The question is, where are you aiming it? And if you need a chance to slow down, pause, and pick a new target, this week could be that. What's up, everyone? I'm the Astro Mama. I bring the cosmos down to earth to ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics through weekly astro weather forecasts like the one that we are doing right now, personal readings, and events. If you're looking how you can swim with the cosmic current instead of against it this week, tune into this week's astro weather forecast from June 29th to July 5th, 2026. I go day by day, transit by transit. I focus on what I feel like are more major transits, so you might notice at the bottom there are dates timestamped below, and there are some dates that I may skip. I always recommend listening to this video once at the beginning of the week and then going back, hitting that timestamp for that day by day, so you can plan your day accordingly. If you're not a video audio type of person, but you still want to stay connected, I do post a written forecast on my Instagram account. It's at the Astro Mama _. Now, we start this week with a jam-packed astro weather forecast on Monday, June 29th, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde about 3 to 4 times a year, and this is a very popular astrological transit in media and pop culture. The most commonly communicated transit I tend to see on social media, except for a sun sign like welcome to Cancer season, etc. And Mercury is the planet of communication, intellect, siblings, short-term travel, and communication. And when a planet goes retrograde, it appears to be moving backwards in the sky. But something that I love the most about retrogrades is that the planets don't actually move backwards. So a retrograde, in theory, is really just an optical illusion. It appears to be going retrograde. And I love this analogy when it comes to any planet going retrograde in that season, because what can happen is things within that area of life that that planet governs get a little wonky. During Mercury retrograde, there tends to be traffic jams. There tends to be miscommunication snafus. There tends to be technological delays and glitches. I remember in like 2015, 16, it was like Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook all went down for like 24 hours. And that was during a Mercury retrograde. When I was working retail, cash registers would always go down during Mercury retrograde. The good news is, like I said, the planets aren't actually moving backwards. Things appear to be going chaotically in that area of life, or there are delays, but they're not major setbacks in the way that they might feel in the moment. The delays that happen during Mercury retrograde show you what energy leaks are happening in that area of your life that need to be taken care of. For example, you might find yourself in a traffic jam trying to go from appointment to appointment and not giving yourself enough time. It could be the universe saying, hey, you are packing your schedule way too tightly. You have to have room for traffic. You have to have room for something to come up, your kids to get sick, or there to be a miscommunication with your babysitter or something and they show up late. Another thing that could happen is for business owners, you might try to do a launch at this time and notice that your systems are failing. You might notice that there's technological glitches or typos or miscommunications between yourself and your staff. And this is a sign of how can you tighten your systems up? How can you foolproof or retrograde proof your business so that every time a Mercury retrograde happens, which like I said is 3 to 4 times a year, your business doesn't fall apart. Those snafus, those setbacks, they don't have to completely derail you. They can just show you where you can grow in that area of life. This is a great transit to revisit, to revise, and to reassess mercurial themes. For business owners, like this is a good time to review or edit your current website, your current offer suite, socials, maybe even a book or a written project you have. Maybe if you're a photographer and you're backdated on edits, you did 8 weddings in June, instead of opening your books for July or August, maybe closing them and getting caught up with your edits. I've talked about this before, but the reason why it's not recommended to start a new one is because then Mercury retrograde, the natal placement will be alive in that project. And if we can avoid that, great. That being said, life does happen. If you have to sign a contract, if you have to launch a product, if you have to hire somebody, you don't have to put your life on pause, but just be mindful that those kinds of snafus could come up. For couples, you might find that an old problem comes to the surface. Relationship therapists say that couples have the same arguments over and over again in just different packages, and they really only have a certain amount of core issues. Your partner always leaves their socks on the floor and you always tell them not to, and there's a core wound that you have in the relationship around feeling misunderstood or unseen. That kind of situation could come up in the same package or in a different package. But it's an opportunity, if you really want it to be, for the two of you to do some healing work together in therapy or by yourselves or with a healer or something to finally put that issue to bed. For singles, you could get a text or have a dream of an ex, or you could be the ex sending the text. That's something that's a very classic Mercury retrograde situation that we see in our society. Understand that whomever comes back around during Mercury retrograde isn't always to last. Sometimes people come back around to heal, for the two of you to find closure, for the two of you to move on from the dynamic that you had. And other times, who am I to say that it can't be a fresh start or a do-over? Because it could be. Traditionally, astrologers do warn against signing contracts during these transits, making big purchases, or beginning new ventures of importance if you can avoid it. And that is during Mercury retrograde, which starts today on June 29th and goes until July 23rd. Some people say that this is an especially powerful transit because Mercury does not enjoy being in the sign of Cancer. Each planet has certain zodiac signs that it thrives in, certain zodiac signs that it's called peregrine, it has a more neutral relationship with, and then certain signs that it really struggles being in, especially transit-wise. Not necessarily natally, that's a whole different conversation. We all have gifts and ways that we can find goodness in our natal placements, but some food for thought there. You might see that floating around in the interwebs. Speaking of Cancer, how do we like my new setup? Tell you why I'm thinking about Cancers. I just got this new couch while Jupiter in Cancer has been transiting my fourth house in Placidus, which is of the home and real estate and family and roots. And I do have Venus natally in Cancer. And I just felt like I needed some actual comfy, cozy furniture to enjoy being at home. I tend to be a homebody, but I just feel like me wearing this hoodie, drinking tea in my new couch, doing this forecast with my daughter sleeping in the next room. It's definitely Venus in Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, Cancer vibes. So I figured, well, we, still have some time with some Cancer energy in the cosmos. I might as well Cancer it up. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching the video format. Do we like the background? Do we not? What's the vibe? Let me know. I was thinking I used to have a couch, and then when guests would come on the podcast, they could sit on the couch, and now I have this, and now I'm like, the only thing is I don't know how I'd fit a guest on here, but I haven't had a guest in 6 months. So I don't know if there is going to be a guest anytime soon. But I just got this idea. What if, hear me out, I get a bean bag. So every time that there's a guest, we have bean bags and we're doing it in beanbag chairs. That's either going to look really cool, hip, and trendy, or it's going to look really dumb. And only the universe knows the answer to that. Okay, so like I said, Monday, there's a lot happening on Monday. Let's keep it moving. The full moon exacts this day at 4:56 p.m. Pacific time at 8 degrees of Capricorn. It makes a square to Saturn and Neptune, makes a trine to Chiron. Overall, Capricorn full moon is that of encouraging responsibility. It's a Saturnian moon and encourages long-lasting commitment, discipline. To what or whom do you want to be committed to? To what or whom do you want to see the long run? Where can you delay gratification and understand that sometimes those short-term impulses are not as nourishing as the rewards from something that is consistent over time? Capricorn's already ruled by Saturn. It's squaring its ruler here with Moon square Saturn today. So this could influence you to feel motivated and grounded in working hard, setting foundations for the future, challenging yourself, and through discipline. This is a great opportunity to take an energy audit of yourself. So to whom, what environments, what people, what relationships, what thoughts, and what habits are you leaking your energy to? We are energetic beings. I'm sure you already knew that. If you're here, if you're a deep feeler, creative, and mystic, Probably already have some sort of interest in, psychology and metaphysical arts and health and all those things. Everything we say yes to, we are saying no to something else. I'm saying this to myself too, because I've had to do a huge energy audit recently of just dealing with some like light health issues. They might be getting a little bit more intense. Thank God, nothing life threatening, but like I keep finding this awareness of what is happening, and then I keep choosing the thing that is reinforcing the health issue or the things we all need to notice under this lunation from the lens of a loving observer. What cuts, edits, revisions do we get to make to be more aligned with the future us or the future you that you're building for yourself? And I have to share that about my own experience too, because I never want to come off as this better than thou, holier than thou, the person who has figured it all out, because I truthfully haven't. One of my favorite quotes is, what I know is that I don't know, but I do know what I do know, so I might as well bring that in with some astrological knowledge and just remind you that I'm also learning these experiences too as an imperfect human with a bad hair day as I'm recording this forecast. Moon square Neptune can bring a little bit of a fog, an emotional fog, confusion, or insecurity. Noticing what needs to be fixed can be scary. Getting rid of a relationship, a habit, a routine, something that is toxic or unhealthy to you, like that is nerve-wracking, because we all have reasons why we do the things we do. This is human psychology. We don't just pick up a bad habit someday for no reason, especially something that ends up being detrimental to us. We do it because it's fulfilling some sort of need. This is not medical advice. This is just coming from my experience as a coach and as an astrologer since 2018, people I've worked with, things I've learned in courses, and also with myself, my own healing journey. Okay. I'm going to give an example. This is not from a judgy place. We've all been there. I've been there myself. Imagine if you always doom scroll on Instagram and eat chips late at night. So you're up all night, you're doom scrolling Instagram, you're eating the chips. Psychology would suggest that quitting that cold turkey is not going to help. You're probably going to keep doing it. You're probably going to like lay in bed, staring at the wall, thinking about the chips and the doom scrolling, and you're just going to get up and do it. You also could instead replace that habit with something else. So maybe you put a book on your nightstand with a healthy snack and you say, instead of doing this, I'm going to do this. Or maybe you allow yourself to have a dance party or go for a walk outside or on your walking pad instead. Or maybe you just make sure you're eating enough during the day so you're not starving at night over the chips in front of you. And a way you can figure out how to replace it is by getting to the understanding of what is that need I'm fulfilling with the toxic habit. So am I needing to rest? Am I exhausted? Am I needing to have some fun or let loose? Then you can give yourself a cosmic RX for an activity that will fulfill that need in a way that is healthier for you. So if it's to have fun, maybe you get to paint your nails and watch reality TV instead. I think part of the reason why we do the things that we do is because I think our society tells us we shouldn't want the things that we want. So like moms, parents, those of us out there raising children, we're told like we should just be grateful for our little blessings and we should never complain, especially in mom communities. Like there's no correct way to do it. It's like single moms get judged, married moms get judged, working moms get judged, stay-at-home moms get judged, people who do hybrid situations everybody gets judged. And each subsector of the momosphere has a different thing that people like to judge that person for. Okay. And you see it. Now that I said that, you're not going to unsee it. You'll see it out into the world. Maybe with whatever role you're in, with whatever style of parenting you do, you have a complaint about it. Or you're staying at home and you're like, I want to talk to another adult today. And I can't because my baby's puking all over me and I'm staying at home. Or I want to be able to spend money in a way that feels freeing to me, but I'm not earning income. Or I don't want to miss this gap in my career or whatever. People are like, well, you should just be grateful you get to stay at home with your kid. Or if you're a working mom and you're like, I wish I had more time with my child. I miss them. I wish that I could have longer maternity leave, or I wish that I didn't have to be the provider. And then people are like, well, you should be lucky that you have a job and you make money and that you can afford to pay for daycare or whatever, and you can talk to adults all day. Do you know what I mean? Maybe the key to healing, so that you're not doom scrolling late at night eating chips because you're so exhausted or because you feel so shameful for feeling the way that you feel, is to just acknowledge it and say, you know what? Yeah, my baby is a blessing. Yeah, my career is a blessing. Yeah, both are a blessing, but it's also okay for me to be overwhelmed right now. It's also okay for me to be exhausted right now. It's also okay for me to want things to be a little different right now. And now that we're neutral with the feelings that we have, what do you want to do to soothe them in a way that's healthy? Moon trine Chiron provides an opportunity for healing. It's the last aspect I'll talk about with this moon. That is an opportunity for healing, for making that unconscious conscious and choosing new patterns for yourself. And the Chironian aspect also always involves eventually being able to teach and guide others, which is so special. Okay, so last major transit of the day is Jupiter, the planet of luck, expansion, and abundance, enters Leo, the confident, courageous, and creative fire sign, where it will be until July 26th, 2020. The planets are always moving and mixing in many different ways. There will be other transits happening over the next year that will bring about different flavors of this, different renditions of this. But here's some overall themes of Jupiter and Leo. If you are a Leo sun, moon, rising, Venus, maybe Mars, and especially Jupiter, you will feel this more than other people. Major themes with Jupiter and Leo. Bold, colorful aesthetics, beauty choices, and fashion statements will be favored. Creativity is encouraged and rewarded. Acts of courage, bravery, superhero-like vibes could be happening at this time. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Marvel movies that come out, or a story of somebody lifting a car off of somebody, fighting off a bear. Generous or loving people being promoted. I'm thinking about big acts of generosity, like Oprah's 30 Days of Christmas or Oprah's Favorite Things or whatever, where she would be like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Or, she's like, hey, I like this pot from Rachel Ray. Everybody in the audience gets one. Something like that I could see happening again, which I do feel like we need right now in our world for sure. More children being born. The fifth house rules romance and children, and inner children. So more kids being born, more people getting pregnant, more people getting married, or creating more serious partnerships, finding soulmates. And maybe an emphasis on children. That transit starts at 10:52 p.m. on Monday, June 29th, and ends on July 26th, 2027. So we're going to skip ahead to Wednesday, July 1st. The moon enters Aquarius today at 12:33 p.m. Pacific time. It makes oppositions to Mercury and Jupiter, a trine to Mars, a sextile to Neptune, a conjunction to Pluto, and a square to Chiron. Usually what I do to prepare these forecasts is I look at the transits, I write them all down, and I just channel. I let myself channel. I'm a Pisces rising. If I see any images, I put the images down. If I feel anything, I put the feelings down. I just write. And then I grab my handy dandy laptop and I'll read to you aloud what I wrote. There's no AI involved in this. It's just me and AstroSeek, which is such a good resource to pull up the transits. But anyway, so sometimes I get an image, and I got an image for today, Wednesday, July 1st. And it was somebody at home on their laptop in their comfy chair. Maybe they're an activist or a humanitarian, and they have a dream for making the world a better place. They could also be a creative, dreamy, or spiritual type of person. And they see that there's a meetup or a protest happening in their local community, maybe on their Instagram or on their Facebook or wherever they're looking on their interwebs on their laptop. And they're thinking about going. They're like, wow, I really care about climate change. There's this climate change group happening down the block. But they get into their head a little bit about it. In the past, maybe they went to events like this and they felt really out of place or alone, or maybe they're just a more shy person and they just are scared to put themselves out there again. Or maybe they met somebody and they were mean to them or something. Who knows? They ruminate, they're ruminating in their chair and they're like, gosh, first of all, I'm feeling kind of lonely. I really want to connect to a group of people. I love that everybody in this group cares about climate change. This is so important to me. It's my life's work. I've been wanting to create more of a change in person with my literal physical hands versus online. It's down the block. It sounds like a good idea, but I don't want to be the odd man out. I don't want to get isolated or alone. It takes a lot for me to get out of my comfort zone and show up, and I'm scared. But over time, they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm going to send it. And then they go to the event and they go with their head held high. They go in a good energy. They say hello to the person sitting next to them, and they leave with a new project to work on for their community garden to contribute to the cause. They have one new potential friend or collaborator next to them, and they have more confidence to do it again in the future. My question for you is, where in your life have you been holding back from past fears or experiences? How can you activate your Mars-like qualities or will to show up anyway? And is there a middle ground? Is there a way to take a mindful risk and then go home and regulate your nervous system after? So for that person, maybe he goes home and he takes a bath or something, or writes in a journal or calls his best friend and talks about what happened. Also happening today is Jupiter square Chiron. On the flip side of that, and the people who are absolutists are not going to like that. If you are running yourself into the ground, if you're overdoing it with Jupiter square Chiron today, this is an ask to actually slow down and breathe and literally do less. So some of you need to go out there and do the things and do more, and others need to do less. And only you will know which one of those paths is meant for you. Welcome to Thursday, July 2nd. Venus makes a trine to Black Moon Lilith in the wee hours of the morning at 12:30 a.m. Pacific time, potentially activating your raw primal essence when it comes to love, beauty, and finances. I think the biggest thing, especially with this transit with Jupiter and Leo right now, is to embrace your desires, embrace your authentic self-expression and your truth, and to live bold and embodied. Mars makes a square to the North Node later today at 1 a.m. Pacific time, which could be presenting you with a crossroads between your current impulses, relationships, habits, desires, and the possibilities of a better future. This is where that bow and arrow analogy I made in the intro comes back around. What does it look like to pause your momentum for a moment and ask yourself mindfully, where exactly am I going? How does XYZ choice align with what I am wanting to create? Choosing delayed gratification and being mindful with where your energy is going isn't easy, but it's worth it. Welcome to Friday, July 3rd. Mars makes a conjunction with Uranus later this evening at 11:07 p.m. Pacific time. You could be feeling restless, eager, and driven with this energy. You could be feeling tied down or trapped or caged in a certain area of your life, and you're just wanting to break free and fly like a butterfly in the wind. And it's just really important to not become reckless or careless as a result of that. It's a great day to channel that energy instead to do the thing that you need to do. So cross XYZ off your activity list. And don't send out a sassy text to your boss because they locked themselves out of the office for the 15th time and you have to go in, or snap at your kids because they keep asking for more chicken nuggets, or both. Let's not do that. Let's just use that energy to do the thing that you need to do that you keep avoiding. Or get a good workout in, ask that person on a date you've been wanting to ask on a date, pay the bill that you keep putting off, and don't let restlessness turn into irritability and anger. I feel like restlessness is just too much energy in the body. And one of the best things you can do is just get the energy out and channel it in a healthy way, so that you can go back to whatever issues you have in your life from a more grounded perspective. Shortly after, the moon enters Pisces at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time. It makes an opposition to Venus, makes a square to Mars and Uranus. It's conjunct the North Node and sextile Chiron. With the moon opposite Venus, there could be a bit of tension between what you need to feel emotionally safe and what you actually want in the realm of love, beauty, and finances. Maybe you want to invest in an outdoor garden for your patio, but you also need to start saving for your kids' school. Or you really want to go on a steamy date with the waiter at your local restaurant, but you know in your heart the two of you would not be compatible long term. And you keep promising yourself that you're only dating for marriage, you're only dating serious partner. You're kind of off the market for now. With Moon square Mars and Uranus, you could be feeling really impulsive. You need to go order the gardening equipment immediately or ask the waiter out today. Because the moon is making this conjunction to the North Node, tune into future you. What action at this moment would benefit future you the most? Maybe it is what your impulses are getting you to. Maybe it really is working on the garden right now. Maybe it really is asking the waiter out right now. Or maybe it's not. And with Moon sextile Chiron, in any case, you can't mess up the path that is really meant for you. Whatever crossroads in your life that you're currently navigating, it will be avenues for you to bring wisdom and healing to others later in life when the time is right and when it's an integrated lesson. So just keep that in mind. Whether or not you ask the waiter out, whether or not you buy the gardening equipment, it's all lessons. And you always get to wherever you're meant to be. Now, on Saturday, July 4th, Mars makes a sextile to Neptune. This makes it a very lovely day to get out into nature, to connect with the divine, your spiritual being of choice, or just create today. This is the vibe of curling up with a good book or taking a nap or frolicking amongst the flowers. If you try to do anything too important or too productive today, you could just be feeling really foggy. It could be really hard for you to focus. Like when I have a long list of things to do and I can't focus and I don't do them, I just feel like I wasted my day. I could have just rested intentionally instead. So you might want to take that with you. And then you can go into the rest of your weekend feeling rested and relaxed instead of stressed or anxious. And then our last major transit of the week happens on Sunday, July 5th. And that is Mars trine Pluto, which gives us a motivated and assertive type of vibe. Your willpower and stamina could be strong. You had a big, long week of deciding where you want your arrow to go. What are you taking with you on this next step of your phase? What do you have to leave behind? Where do you need to take risks? Where do you need to rest? And now it's like, okay, go do the things. Clean out your closet. Make love to your lover. Lift some heavy weights. Enjoy this passionate day. And just know that you are so loved and supported on every phase of your journey. All right, love. So that is your Astro Weather forecast for the day. I am the Astro Mama. I'm a certified professional astrologer, a board certified psycho-spiritual life coach, and a real life mama. And I bring the cosmos down to earth to ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics. If today's forecast resonated with you, or if you fall into any of those categories, feel free to book a reading with me. You can take my free Grounded Mystic quiz in the caption below. It takes less than 5 minutes. It'll pair you with the perfect reading for you, and it'll give you 20% off your first reading with me, which is great if you are somebody who's always wanted to get a reading done and maybe couldn't afford it or is just looking for a little bit of a discount. I love you all so much. I'll be here next week. Take care and see you soon.